All right, so I hope you had a great weekend, but it's time to jump right back into the latest and greatest in sneakers. Now, not only are we starting off a fresh week, but we're diving headfirst into a brand new month. So on today's show, we're gonna be discussing what you guys can look forward to as far as this week's releases. But of course, to begin, we gotta recap this past weekend where we saw Jordan Brand hit us with the Jordan 3 Cement Gray. Now, as far as this pair right here, I like to call these one of those like off-brand Jordan releases, almost like the little bro to the white cement 3s. Not quite there, but still a solid release regardless. Now, according to Eldon Monitors, apparently we had roughly 100,000 pairs of these available. And of course, being as that we are in the back to school season, I would expect these to do well. But then again, Nike and Jordan Brand does have a lot more competition nowadays. Plus, on top of that, it seems like the go-to Jordan Retro back to school release had to be those White Thunder 4s, as we pretty much see these joints sitting nationwide across the country in full size runs. Now, as far as the sneakers app drop, we did see these hit the app at 10 a.m. Eastern, but once the launch ended, Nike hit us with one of these little pump fakes where it looked like these joints were sold out, only for them to fully restock them via the app with a full size run, and that's where we still are currently at. So as far as this pair right here, as I mentioned, very solid release. If you're just in the market for a clean, wearable sneaker, I would definitely recommend to pick these up. But if you can hold out, possibly get these joints for under retail, I would say it would be an even better pickup. Now, from Adidas, we saw them debut the Dame 9, which was an interesting rollout for this drop, as these actually were a Bape collaboration. So as far as this drop, rather than a standard Adidas app drop, we actually saw these hit the Confirmed app, which is kind of rare for a new debut of a basketball model such as. Now, as far as both of these pairs, I would say probably my favorite would have to go to the green offering, as it features the classic Bape camo. Plus, being as a Dame plays for Milwaukee now, I feel like this release is a little more fitting, or I should say that colorway is a little more fitting. So solid release, I would say. This model is not bad looking for a basketball sneaker, and it feels like Adidas basketball kind of is developing their own kind of design language right here. Plus, on top of that, we already know the Anthony Edwards line is a hit. We know the James Harden line continues to bring out solid releases. So can Adidas kind of add a third player to the mix here with these Dame 9s? I would say that question is still to be determined. I would say the success of this release is kind of riding on the wave of how people respond to the more GR pairs, which we know they have lined up down the line. Plus, I think another big thing as far as regarding this sneaker is how Dame's performance is this season. I would say ever since he kind of took his talents over to Milwaukee, he does have to share the shine with Giannis. So I think that kind of takes away his marketability factor, as he kind of has to share some of that with Giannis. Plus, I would say if Dame has a breakthrough, really good season this year, I think it will translate into the success of his sneakers. So we had the Dame 9 Bape collaboration hit the app on Saturday. Now, as far as this release, these joints did sell out in bigger sizes, but don't get it twisted. Again, Adidas kind of up to the same shenanigans as Nike, as we know they are a GOAT verified partner. So pretty much anything that isn't available via Adidas Confirmed, you pretty much know that's going to be directly sold through the GOAT app. So Adidas kind of hit us with one of these fake sellouts for the bigger sizes, but we'll see how the other Dame 9 colorways do once they drop. And it looks like we have a purple pair, which apparently is set to drop, I guess, in a couple of weeks or so. So as far as this past weekend, I would say nothing really dropped that I would call like a must-have release. But as far as coming up this week, we got Adidas, which I want to say this dropped today or possibly yesterday, but we got the Crazy 8 Low, which as far as this pair right here, to my knowledge, I actually thought this pair was noteworthy just due to the fact that I don't think we've ever seen Adidas actually drop these in low top form. Now, as far as the Crazy 8 model, I think this was a sneaker which was always ahead of its time, but now, of course, dropping these in low top form, I think takes them more a little bit into today's present day time. So solid pair, especially coming in at $120. Not bad. I just think an overall great looking sneaker. Now, next up, we also saw Adidas release the Harden Volume 8. This is the luxury red colorway. So another addition to the lineup coming in, featuring this kind of primary all red colorway. Now, Harden 8, very solid sneaker. I would think looks kind of good on and off the court as well. Now, as far as this colorway though, I would say probably one of my least favorites from the Harden 8 line, but given that the fact that it's an all red shoe, I guess you could say that these would look cool on the court. So these did drop for $160. Now today we saw Nike hit us with the Air DT Max 96, which it looks like they have a range of Colorado based colorways which are set to drop. So this will be the first of 3. So we did see these joints drop today for 170 bucks. Now it looks like we do have some sizes which have sold out, so if you guys are in the market for these, I would definitely jump on these, as I'm imagining these joints eventually will probably sell out by the end of the day. Now, as far as the DT Max 96, we've seen this sneaker kind of have a new resurgence with the whole Coach Prime thing and everything like that. And it's great to see this sneaker kind of have like a second win, and they are officially a Deion Sanders collaboration, as he now is officially signed back with Nike. So you gotta love it. Now, coming up next on the 5th of September, we have the Dunk Low Silver Surfer. Now, this is part of Nike's Cult Classics pack, where they kind of take these like classic or rare Dunk Lows, drop them in like a new modern update. Now, this isn't actually an official Silver Surfer collaboration, but rather kind of like a unlicensed almost like collab style, where Nike's kind of being a little bit cheap but still dropping these with that Silver Surfer theme. So they're asking for $135, and be on the lookout for these joints dropping coming up here on the 5th. Now, we're also busy that day as we have a Supreme Clogposit release. Now, the Clogposit is a very interesting release because I actually thought this was a new model, but these actually did originally debut back in like the early 2000s, which I want to say, based off the fact that I pretty much didn't hear about them, I would say they weren't a huge hit. But now I think this sneaker has like a bigger chance to have a second win in today's modern era. I think they translate a lot better nowadays, given that this is a update to the classic Flightposit. I think the fact that this shoe is kind of like crazy looking, it's almost like a conversation starter type of a piece. I think this is one that like the fashionable crowd kind of would gravitate a little bit more towards, and the fact that it's just so easy to like slip on and everything like that, the easeability, I think makes this release a lot more better. All of those reasons combined together to make this a lot more cooler of a sneaker, I would say, in today's time. And given that it's a Supreme collab, I would think it's an organic mashup, and of course they're gonna throw a whole bunch of crazy colors. So while I'm not a fan of the loud ones, I would say I could probably get away rocking like the black joints or whatever. So be on the lookout for these, again dropping on the 5th for 140 bucks. Now, we also got Salehi Bembry dropping the latest colorway of the Juniper sneaker, which I guess this is the second official colorway that we saw drop. So these are going to be called Tahini, and they're asking for $140 for these. Now, as far as the Juniper, you guys remember the initial rollout of the debut colorway. There was a good amount of hype surrounding that drop, but I would say that hype kind of came and went, as that first release was just so unobtainable. It was just so difficult to cop. I think the buzz kind of died down. So we'll see how this release goes, but my guess, you know, based off the fact that it's a new kind of debut Crocs release, I would guess that these are probably going to be, again, another difficult release. So we'll see how that release goes. We'll get a little bit, we'll do a little more coverage as we get closer to that drop. And then we got the Air Max Thunder, which is going to be dropping in this black silver colorway. So these are dropping on the 5th for 180 bucks. Now, originally I was kind of tough on the Air Max Thunder, you know, given the original colorways. We had those like vibrant joints, but we'll give them some time, let this model marinate a little bit, and I think people will be a lot more in favor for this black rendition, which I feel like is a cool take on this classic 90s Air Max model. Now, as the week winds down on the 6th, we have a huge release. We got 5 different Kobes to look forward to in the Kobe 8 Pro Tro model. Now, at one point, Nike was making this statement, or I think it was Vanessa Bryant actually, where she said that they were working on making Kobes a little more obtainable for everybody. So I guess this is their answer to this, as we got 5 different options to choose from, which will be dropping for 190 bucks a piece. Now, initially my first thoughts were, you know, this would be that response, but then I was kind of thinking like it'll be definitely difficult for resellers to resist these, like, you know, buying up all the pairs and just hoarding them, you know, scalping them to innocent buyers. So I don't know, man. And I think out of all 5 of these pairs, I guess the most desirable pairs would probably be the ones that have like a Lakers theme. So whether it be like that black and gold pair or possibly the white and purple pair, we'll see how this joint does, and of course we'll get a little more in-depth coverage as we get a little closer to the drop coming up on the 6th. And then to finish off the week, we got a banger from Adidas dropping the Anthony Edwards 1 Georgia Bulldog, which are going to be dropping Saturday the 7th for a retail of 120 bucks. So of course, you guys already know Anthony Edwards, he went to Georgia. It's an easy story, an easy lineup, and just a solid release. So another take on the AE1. And as far as these releases, I would say I'm always kind of of tempted to grab the latest colorway just based off the fact that they're only coming in at $120. And this here just shows you that Adidas continues to have more colorways of the AE1 lined up, whether it's in low top or mid top form. And apparently the AE2 has been pushed back, so we're gonna have to wait till early 2025 for those to debut. But be on the lookout for this classic bread colorway, which will be dropping in the Georgia Bulldogs theme this Saturday, 9/7 for $120. So that's what we got to look forward to as far as this week's releases. And if needed, we'll do a little more in-depth coverage of certain pairs. But that's what we got as far as this week. Hopefully we'll see some surprises pop up here and there. Now, before we did bounce, I did want to mention this Yeezy update, as many people did notice that this morning, actually, Adidas did pull all Yeezys officially from their website. Now, I don't know if this means that the whole collaboration is over with, but I did find the timing very interesting. So if you guys didn't grab your pair of Yeezys by now, I don't know what you were waiting for. We had pairs just sitting on Adidas for months now, even leading up to the big massive blowout sale, which after that, you pretty much are just left with slim pickings. So I guess it did make sense for them to pull all the pairs. But given that it is the 1st of September, it is kind of interesting as far as the timing and everything like that. We know Adidas has been dropping pairs each quarter, but as far as what is left over, I would anticipate we could potentially see another big Q4 release. Now, we don't know exactly how many pairs are left, but we definitely do know that pairs are remaining. So we'll just have to wait and see, what Adidas plans to do. So as far as a Q4 drop, it would definitely, make sense for them to like kind of top off their earnings, to finish off the year strong. And if we don't actually hear anything officially from Adidas before then, they do have an earnings call, which they will be reporting results like top of October. So that's where they kind of give shareholders all of their information, like how much they sold as far as Yeezy sales, and if they have any leftover inventory and everything like that. So officially, as of this morning, all Yeezys have officially been pulled from Adidas. We'll have to wait and see if they plan on doing another big revamp or like another big Q4 drop, or this could potentially be the end of the iconic classic Adidas collaboration, which I know it feels like things are still pumping, but remember guys, this collaboration ended in 2022 and Adidas is just promising to sell off the remaining pairs. So we'll see how the whole thing plays out, but it could actually be the end of everything. So we'll have to wait and see what happens with that. But Adidas has pulled all Yeezys from the website, so it'll be kind of interesting to see how people respond to this. Will we see resale prices go up, all that good stuff? And as far as mainline Yeezy, we did have a huge announcement recently from Ye, as he has a big China listening event going down. This one is different though, because it looks like Ty Dolla $ign will not be a part, or he's not listed as the main act, but I'm sure he'll be a part of the show. Well, we'll have to wait and see. So this is actually scheduled for the 15th. Apparently the entire event is already sold out, so it looks like we got a big event to look forward to. Hopefully they'll stream it just like the Korea event, because that joint was crazy. And I know I've been saying it so many times, I sound like a broken record at this point, but we're still waiting on that new Yeezy merch. So we're gonna wrap things up right here. We got that big event to look forward to. Let me know what you guys were rocking with as far as your favorite releases coming up this week. So as we get up out of here though, of course, we got to mention the poll of the day, which you guys can always find on the community tab here for this YouTube channel. I simply asked you guys, what was your favorite sneakers, which happened to drop last week. So we had a roughly 1.6 thousand votes, and it looks like the majority of you guys coming in at 36% went with the classic Jordan 17 low UNC. So it seems like people are definitely feeling these newer Jordan retro. I shouldn't say newer Jordan retros, but these kind of like untapped Jordan retros, models 15 and up, and they're starting to definitely feel this resurgence of classics coming back. So we got the Jordan 17 low. You guys picked it as the best release of the week. Now in second place, actually it was a close call, but you guys selected the cement gray Jordan 3s, and at third place at 23% we had those hot lava Nike Air Tech Challenge 2s, which I think that's a release that caught many people off guard given how rare that pair was. And then in last place you guys got the Dame 9s respectively. So thank you to everybody that participated in the poll of the day. Of course, we are going to wrap things up right here. I'm JA, so of course I'll be checking in with you guys tomorrow for the latest updates, but in the meantime, stay safe, stay blessed. I'm out, y'all. Love.